Moving on, the Karnataka government's recommendation to accord a separate religion status to the Lingayat community has stirred the hornet's nest in the poll-bound state. Much is being talked about Siddaramaia's bold decision that has the potential to rupture the most solid vote bank of the BJP. But who are the Lingayats?
The Karnataka government's recommendation to accord a separate religion status to the Lingayat community has stirred the hornet's nest in the poll-bound state. Much is being talked about Siddaramaia's bold decision that has the potential to rupture the most solid vote bank of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But who are the Lingayats? Lingayats are followers of the 12th century reformer Basavanna. The community was a product of a series of protests during the period against the Brahminical social structure, hence the claim that Lingayatism is a separate religion.
There is a flip side to it, and that which is open. If one were to look at the history of Lingayat origin, I'm not talking of Saivism and so on, you see. At some point of time, Saivism becomes Veera Saivism. I'm not so much of an expert to really speak on that. But if I take the origin of Lingayats, it is nothing surprising that today they want to have a religious tag for themselves, because they are a product of establishing a separate religious identity as opposed to a dominant religious identity that was there at that time, against which they fought or against which there was a movement.
They form the biggest community in Karnataka with close to 17% of the state's population. They are said to enjoy decisive influence in 110 out of the 224 constituencies, and close to 1/3 of all educational institutions are run by Lingayats, which stand to benefit from the religious minority tag.
Well, the jury is still out on whether giving a separate religion status to the Lingayat community will reap rich electoral dividends to the Siddaramaiah administration. But what it has managed to do is create that wedge between Lingayats and Veerashaivas considering themselves as the more superior subsect within the Lingayat community. So far, two major mutts have come out in support of the recommendation. If that trend continues, the BJP should certainly be worried.
What makes the community highly influential are over 1,000 of its mutts that have been frequented by many politicians over the years. BJP National President Amit Shah went on a mutt-hopping spree over the last few days. But things have not panned out as hoped for the party, as two of the major mutts, Siddhaganda Mutt and Muruga Mutt, have openly backed the separate religion recommendation.
The Lingayats are a dominant community within them. Whether you look at it in terms of their influence within villages, their ability to control villages, in areas where they are influential, their influence within the village, in both numerically and economically, is very strong.
Of the total 1,200 Lingayat mutts in Karnataka, 12 are believed to be highly influential. Political experts have also opined that, knowing BJP's leanings, Amit Shah should have visited the Panchapitha mutts that are run by the Veerashaiva community that is opposing the recommendation made by the Siddaramaiah government. But why are these two factions on the extreme end of the spectrum? While experts feel that there is historical evidence of the divide within the community, they also feel that the wedge today is political in nature.
Historically, we have had Saivism as a culture, as a religious faith and culture, and at some point of time there has been, even prior to the birth of Basava and the Lingayat movement, there has already been Veera Saivism and the Panchapitha phenomenon and so on. That I will take. But the way today Veera Saivism is being articulated against Lingayatism is what I think the political phenomenon.
Interestingly, this demand is more than a few decades old in India. In the 1872 census, under the British rule, the Lingayat community was classified as a separate religion. But that changed quickly in 1881, when the Lingayats and Veerashaivas were classified as one community under Hinduism. Mr. G.K. Karanth, a social scientist, says that one of the biggest reasons for Lingayats to slip into the Hindu fold was that the community had not managed to devise its own religious system.
Was this Lingayats who got formed as a separate class or caste, if you like, or religion? Essentially religion, because they came out of the Hindu fold protesting the Hindu order, but then they ended up in due course no different from Hindu.
But in today's Karnataka, how does a Hindu identity or a Lingayat identity impact electoral behavior in Karnataka?
Well, it's certainly an embarrassment that the Veerashaiva Mahasabha meeting that was especially presided over by a senior Congress leader like Shamanur Shivshankarappa has come out criticizing the state administration for allegedly trying to break up the Lingayat community. So far, the Siddaramaiah government has only faced brickbats from the BJP that has accused it of trying to politicize the entire issue and trying to play electoral game with the long-standing demand. But on the other hand, with senior leaders from the Congress itself criticizing the government, it has certainly come as an embarrassment, especially ahead of the elections. In Bengaluru with video journalist Chandan, this is Nishchita for WION.